Champy the Wonder Dog and Timmy's Covert Rescue Mission. Part 1. The Secret Covert Mission begins. Champy the Wonder Dog was known far and wide for his bravery and intelligence. With his white and black spotted coat and bright brown eyes, he was the leader of the pack in his neighborhood. He had many friends, but none as loyal as Timmy, a very small white dog with a fluffy white tail that seemed to wag nonstop. Timmy had been staying with Champy, Grandpa, and Grandma for a few days because his family, Mom, Dad, Carter, Olivia, and Bryson had gone to Dollywood on vacation. He was happy to be there, but little did Grandpa and Grandma know, Timmy had promised Champy that they were about to embark on an important mission, one that had to remain a secret. "Are you sure we're doing the right thing, Champy?" Timmy asked as they sat in the backyard, watching the sunset. "Absolutely," Champy replied with a determined look in his eyes. "Sadie needs us. It's our job to help her." Timmy, although small, was as brave as any dog, and he trusted Champy. He nodded and wagged his tail. "Okay, I'm in, but how are we going to get into the dog pound without Grandpa and Grandma knowing?" Champy grinned. "That's the tricky part, Timmy. We need to keep this mission a secret. If they find out, they'll stop us. We'll have to be sneaky." That evening after dinner, while Grandpa and Grandma were sitting in the living room watching TV, Champy and Timmy slipped outside to begin their secret mission. They didn't want to alarm anyone, especially not Grandma, who loved to spoil them with bacon treats, or Grandpa, who always fussed over them. The mission had started several days ago when Buddy, the little black dog who lived next door, had come running to Champy with urgent news. "I saw it happen, Champy. The dog catcher took Sadie." He pulled her tags off, hid them in his pocket, and locked her up in a panel truck and took her to the dog pound. "She was just walking down Main Street, coming over to visit you." Buddy barked, trembling with fear. "I ran home as fast as I could. I didn't want the dog catcher to come after me too." Champy's heart sank. Sadie, a little brown dog who was always kind and full of joy, although she was a senior citizen in dog years, had been taken by the dog catcher. She hadn't done anything wrong. She was just walking to visit her friend, Champy. "That's terrible," Champy exclaimed. "We have to help her, Timmy, but we have to be careful. The dog catcher can't know what we're up to, or he could also lock us up in the dog pound. We'll have to plan a rescue for Sadie." And so their secret mission began. The first part of the plan was simple. They needed to case the dog pound to learn its weaknesses. They would do it tonight after midnight, when no one was looking, and maybe the guard would be asleep. Champy the Wonder Dog and Timmy's Covert Rescue Mission. Part 2. Casing the Dog Pound for Weakness. Champy and Timmy crept through the shadows as night fell. The streets were quiet, with only the distant hum of cars passing by. They were heading toward the dog pound, the place where Sadie was locked up. They had to figure out how to break in, rescue Sadie, and get her out without anyone noticing. "There it is," whispered Champy, pointing toward a small, brick building at the end of the street. A high fence surrounded it, and there were bars on the windows. The entrance was guarded by a heavy gate with a large lock. A single streetlight cast a faint glow on the yard, making it easier for Champy and Timmy to sneak closer. Timmy's little paws shuffled quietly on the ground as they approached the fence. He looked up at Champy. "This doesn't look good, Champy. How are we going to get past all this?" "We'll find a way," Champy said confidently. He turned his sharp eyes to the fence and scanned the area. "Look over there," he said, pointing to a small gap near the bottom of the fence. "That's our way in." Timmy's eyes widened. "You mean we can fit through that tiny hole?" "Just about," Champy replied with a wink. "But first, let's check out the building itself. We need to know where Sadie is being kept." They slowly walked around the perimeter of the dog pound, staying out of sight. They noticed that the building had several windows, but they were all securely locked. The door was sturdy and had a heavy-duty lock on it. There was no way they could get through the front. "There has to be another way," said Timmy, his little voice full of worry. "What if we get caught?" "We won't get caught," Champy assured him. "We'll be as quiet as mice. We'll wait for the right moment." They circled the building, looking for any sign of a weakness. Finally, they came across a small ventilation grate at the back of the building. It was old and rusty, but it looked like it might be big enough for Timmy to crawl through. "That's it," said Champy, his tail wagging. We'll use the grate. Timmy, you're small enough to fit through. You'll sneak inside, find Sadie, and unlock the door. I'll be waiting outside to help you escape." Timmy's tail wagged nervously. "What if the dog catcher is inside?" "We'll be quick," Champy said. "We can't waste time." Timmy took a deep breath. "Let's do it, Champy." They gave one last glance around to make sure no one was watching, then set off to put their plan into action. Champy the Wonder Dog and Timmy's Covert Rescue Mission. Part 3. The Great Rescue Escape. 2 nights later, under the cover of darkness, Champy the Wonder Dog and his best friend Timmy were ready. The streets were eerily quiet, and the moon hung low in the sky. Grandpa and Grandma were fast asleep, unaware of the daring rescue taking place just outside their door. "I'm nervous, Champy," Timmy whispered as they made their way to the dog pound. "What if something goes wrong?" "Don't worry," Champy replied. "We've got this. We've planned everything. Just follow my lead." They reached the dog pound and sneaked to the back, where the rusty ventilation grate awaited them. Timmy squeezed through the narrow opening with ease, his small body slipping through like a breeze. Once inside, he carefully padded through the dark hallway, avoiding any noise that might alert the dog catcher. Meanwhile, Champy stood guard outside, keeping an eye on the surroundings. He could hear faint noises inside, the soft scuffling of paws, the low whine of a dog. He knew Sadie was in there somewhere, waiting for them to rescue her. Inside the building, Timmy found Sadie's cage at the far end of the hallway. The little brown dog was curled up in the corner, looking sad and scared. But when she saw Timmy, her eyes lit up. "Timmy, is it really you?" Sadie whispered, her voice trembling. "Of course it's me," Timmy said, his tail wagging. "And we're getting you out of here, Sadie. Don't worry." Timmy quickly found the hidden key and Sadie's dog tags hidden in a drawer nearby, just as Champy had predicted. With trembling paws, he unlocked the cage and let Sadie out. "We have to hurry," Timmy whispered. "Champy's waiting." Together they made their way back to the ventilation grate, but just as they were about to crawl out, they heard footsteps. The dog catcher was coming. "Quick, Sadie! Through the grate!" Timmy urged, pushing the little brown dog ahead of him. With all his strength, Timmy squeezed through the small opening, followed by Sadie. Just as the dog catcher rounded the corner, Champy leaped into action, distracting him by barking loudly. "Hey! Over here!" Champy shouted, leading the dog catcher away from the grate. Timmy and Sadie crawled through the gap and into the safety of the night. The dog pound was left behind, and the 2 dogs ran toward freedom. "We did it!" Timmy yipped, his tail wagging with excitement. Champy joined them, and the 3 friends shared a moment of victory. Sadie was free, and her heart was full of gratitude. The journey wasn't over, but for now they had done the impossible. As they walked back to the house, Champy looked at Timmy and said, "We made a great team, Timmy. You're a real hero." Timmy's tail wagged faster than ever before. "We're all heroes, Champy." And as they snuck back into the house, none of them noticed Grandpa and Grandma sitting up in bed, hearing only the soft patting of paws as their brave dogs returned home from their covert mission. Champy the Wonder Dog and Timmy's Covert Rescue Mission. Part 4. The Great Escape and Sadie's Return Home. The trio of happy dogs walked quietly back through the backyard, careful not to wake Grandpa and Grandma. Timmy, despite being small, was bursting with excitement, his tail wagging furiously. Sadie was no longer in a cage, but her paws were still shaking with nervous energy. The relief on her face was clear as she trotted alongside her 2 best friends. "That was so close," Sadie said, panting slightly because she was an older dog. "I can't believe we actually did it." "We did it," Timmy agreed, glancing up at Champy. "Thanks to Champy's plan." Sadie nuzzled up to Timmy and licked his face. "And thanks to you, little guy. Without you, I'd still be locked up in there." Champy gave a modest shrug. "We all did our part, but now we need to get you home. Your family must be so worried about you." Sadie's eyes lit up. "Oh, I miss them so much. I can't wait to see them again. I hope they haven't given up on me." Champy gave her a reassuring look. "Don't worry, Sadie. We're going to make sure they know you're safe." The dogs moved swiftly through the quiet streets, careful to stay out of sight. They knew they had to get Sadie back home before anyone noticed they were out past curfew. It wouldn't be long before the dog catcher realized that his prized catch was missing. so time was of the essence. As they reached the edge of the neighborhood, they saw the familiar porch light of Sadie's house shining in the distance. It was a warm, welcoming light, and it made their paws move even faster. Sadie stopped for a moment and turned to look at Champy and Timmy. "I can't believe this is happening," she said softly. "I thought I might never see my family again." "I missed all my family, but I missed Hope, my doggy roommate, the most." Champy gave her a smile. "Don't worry, Sadie. We made a promise, and we kept it. You're going home. Now let's put your dog tags back on your collar, so you're a legal dog citizen once again." With that, they approached the front door. Sadie barked with all her strength, and Sadie's heart skipped a beat when she saw her family looking outside through the big front window. Her tail wagged furiously as she darted toward the door. Timmy, who had been trotting along beside her, stopped and turned back to where Champy was standing out of sight. Timmy said, "What should we do now?" "We let Sadie reunite with her family," Champy said, his voice full of pride. "We did our part. Now it's time for her to be where she belongs." The two dogs watched as Sadie pushed her nose against the door, her ears perked with excitement. The door creaked open slowly, and there stood Sadie's family, her human mom, dad, and their three daughters, Lily, Hannah, and Charolette, and then she saw Hope standing behind the family. They gasped in surprise as Sadie trotted inside, wagging her tail and jumping up into Mom's arms to greet them. "Sadie, you're back!" her human mom exclaimed, bending down to catch her in her arms. "We've been so worried, we didn't know what happened to you." Sadie licked her mom's face and wagging her tail with joy. "I'm sorry, I was taken by a big man, the dog catcher, but I'm home now and I'm safe." The three daughters ran over and hugged Sadie, their little brown dog, tightly. "We missed you so much," and Sadie cried out with a bark of joy to be home. Sadie told the family's dad what the dog catcher had done to her. Dad said, "I'm calling the chief of police in the morning and report what that dog catcher did to our little dog Sadie." Champy and Timmy, the two hero dogs, stood back, watching the reunion with satisfaction. It was exactly what they had hoped for. The family was overjoyed, and Sadie was finally home where she belonged. "We did it, Timmy," Champy said quietly. "We saved Sadie and brought her home. No one would ever believe what we dogs accomplished setting Sadie free tonight." Timmy nodded, his small chest swelling with pride. "We sure did, and now she's with her family again." Just then, Sadie turned to them, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you both so much. I never could have escaped without your help. You're the best friends a dog could ever have." "You're welcome, Sadie," Champy said with a grin. "That's what friends are for." Before they left, Champy gave a final look around the quiet neighborhood. It had been a long and daring mission, but it was worth it. They had kept their promise, helped a friend, and made sure justice had been served. As the two dogs walked back toward home, they couldn't help but smile at each other. They had accomplished something big. And although they hadn't told Grandpa or Grandma about the mission, they knew in their hearts that they had done the right thing. Timmy's tail wagged furiously. "We're heroes, Champy." Champy the wonder dog chuckled. "I guess we are, Timmy. But the real hero is Sadie. She's back where she belongs." The two dogs trotted home, knowing that their mission had been a success. And even though Grandpa and Grandma had no idea what their dogs had been up to that night, they knew that their two brave companions were more than just pets. They were real-life heroes. As they crawled into their cozy beds that night, Timmy and Champy drifted off to sleep with the satisfaction of a job well done. They'd kept their promise, helped a friend, and made sure that Sadie was safe at home again. And so, in their small corner of the world, the tale of Champy the Wonder Dog and Timmy the Braveheart. Just as a side note, this covert rescue mission is where Timmy got the title and nickname of Timmy the Braveheart, and their daring covert rescue mission would be one of those quiet, heroic moments that would live forever in their hearts. This is the end of this great adventure. But you can look for more exciting story videos about Champ the Wonder Dog in the future. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and don't forget to click that subscribe and notify icons. This is Grandpa Mac Johnson saying, may Jesus bless and keep you in his loving care. Amen.